Nazim sir, please start.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Amita madam. A very good afternoon to all the participants. Dear participants, please join me in welcoming the speaker of this session, Dr. Brijlal Lakaria sir. I will be briefly introducing sir before he starts his lecture. Sir is presently working as principal scientist and head Chandigarh Center of the ICR, Indian Institute of Soil and Water Conservation. Sir is an expert in soil carbon sequestration, soil carbon pool dynamics, biochar for carbon sequestration and climate change mitigation, integrated nutrient management and conservation agriculture, NRM, and watershed management. Sir has more than 22 years of experience in research and training in the field of natural source management. His contributions on different aspects of soil health and soil carbon sequestration, assessment of carbon pool dynamics under different INM modules, development of prediction models for total organic carbon content and available nitrogen in soils, studies on effect of biochar application on soil and crops has been immense. He has been actively involved in development of a model watershed in Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh states and has contributed immensely in assessment of soil erosion hazards in the states of MP and Chhattisgarh. And he has also established soil loss tolerance limits and computed permissible
That's
soil
enough,
erosion.
Najim ji. That much is not required.
Yeah, yeah. Sir has also guided many MSc and PhD students and has been conferred with many awards and honors. Today, sir will be delivering a lecture on biochar for carbon sequestration and climate change mitigation. Sir, as we know that reducing the increasing concentration of greenhouse gases is necessary to slow down the global warming and climate change. And among several options, biochar has been identified by the IPCC as one of the solutions to fight climate change, thanks to its long-term carbon sequestration potential and its multiple co-benefits. So, I hope this topic is highly relevant and very timely to address this climate change, and this will give us brief and comprehensive insights on the this topic. And sir, I invite you to deliver your lecture, and I also wish that all our participants listen keenly to this lecture and also do a healthy discussion at the end of the presentation. Sir, please start your lecture.
Thank you, Dr. Najim Hamid ji and Madam ji. Very good afternoon to all. And I'm thankful to the organizers for giving me this opportunity to interact with the participants of this online summer school on sustainable agroforestry interventions. And this is I think this program is going to be completed by 31st May. And this lecture has been kept for this training program. And this topic, the biochar for carbon sequestration and climate change mitigation, is very pertinent with respect to this course. And I welcome all the participants who have come from maybe from different universities, and maybe from some of our colleagues, maybe from ICR also. I don't know the exact list of the participants, but I welcome all in this class, in this session. And when we talk about this biochar for carbon sequestration and climate change mitigation, I just want to go through these outlines about carbon sequestration, what is biochar, why biochar, what are its properties, and what is its role in soil health improvement, what are the mechanisms of biochar interaction in soil, and I will try to correlate it, why it is correlated with the climate change mitigation, and what are its impacts, and what are the prospects in future. Friends, when we talk about this issue of climate change, we all are worried, we all are concerned that how our climate is changing at a very fast pace. That has not happened earlier. I will try to show. And the total emissions, the greenhouse gas, which we consider as the main culprit for changes in our environment. So we can see very clearly what is the contribution of different countries. And as India is also at the fourth place in contributing the maximum greenhouse gas emission. So that is the point. About 70% of emission on this globe is being done by these five countries only: China, US, European Union, then India, Russia, and Japan. So these are the five main countries which are contributing because of the high pace of development, industrialization. So this contribution of these countries is very high. And when now the situation, what situation we are now facing, you might be seeing the regularly in every after every kharif harvest, we will find full papers full of mentioning that there is a smog in Delhi or in other states also. So now even the courts, they are asking the officers that if you are living, the persons living the communities without attending these issues, you will be punished. So these dialogues are now coming from the higher authorities also. And as agriculturists, we also need to play our role, how we can help to minimize this pollution. So this is the scenario which you will every season you will find such type of news, which is there everywhere. So these greenhouse gases, as we know, these can remain in our environment for very long time. And once they are well mixed, so it's very difficult. They are not, we cannot take them out so easily from our environment. And we can see what is the contribution of among these all the gases, nitrous oxide or fluorinated gases or methane and carbon dioxide. The main content wise, the carbon dioxide, as we all know, it has maximum share in the environment. So but rest of the gases, though they are very limited, but their global warming potential, if we can say, in comparison to carbon dioxide, they are not less. Even methane is having 28 to 36 times more global warming potential than carbon dioxide. Similarly, and nitrous oxide and fluorinated gases is having even 1,000 to 10,000 times more global warming potential. So our agriculture, when we always see our agriculture is also contributing to this issue, about 17% directly through agricultural activities and 7 to 14% through land use changes. So I will come to this again, but why we are thinking about, we need to think more about this issue so seriously, because this is a scenario which has been there since millions of years, we can say. There has been, this is the increase in concentration of carbon dioxide is not a new thing on this globe. It has happened millions of years ago, 4 lakh years ago also. We can see this is situation. Here also we can see, here also in between, but it increases and then again decreases. It increases and then again decreases. This cycle keeps on going on this globe. But parallelly, same time, whenever there is increase in carbon dioxide, there is increase in temperature of the globe also. So here we can see very clearly. But why this issue has come now? In these, even 4 lakh years ago, there has been no occasion when the carbon dioxide concentration has exceeded 300 ppm. No occasion in 4 lakh years ago. But when we compare it with the since 1950, when it was 285 just, and today we know this has reached to 421 ppm. So even just within 20 years, there has been 11% increase. Just past 20 years, if we see, there has been 11% increase in carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere. So it warns us. There is a great challenge before us. The pace with which we are making our development is very good. That is very good. Our country is progressing. Our globally, all the countries, all the nations are progressing. But we are progressing at the cost of our globe, at the cost of our environment. So this increase of about just see about maybe 150 ppm or so has happened just within a very short period of time. And this is the period when the industrialization happened with a greater speed. So if this, and it is not going to be stopped, it is going to be there always. So it will, how it will affect? It will affect our agriculture also, not only our health also. Our health, in the cases of medical treatments and medical requirements that are also increasing. But beyond that, as an agriculturist, this global warming changes will affect our crop production. This is just an example for maize, the area where we will be having decrease in the crop yields. There are some area where there will be increase in crop yield because where there is low temperature, there we may get some increase in temperature, and that may give us added advantage for crop production, increase in crop yields. But generally, most of the area they are going in the red zones, and crops are being affected globally. And we are seeing through many papers, many research papers, we will find that many models have been developed. They are also saying that with increase in 1 degree or 2 degree, what will happen to the yield of a particular crop. There are certain crops there may be increase in yield, but there are many crops where there will be decrease in the crop productivity. So that's why we have to take this issue of this global warming, the climate change. We have to take it very seriously. And when we talk about carbon dioxide, basically we talk about the carbon. And carbon, where is carbon in the on the atmosphere? In that it is there in the atmosphere, it is there in the lithosphere, it is there in the hydrosphere. Everywhere there is carbon, and there is a balance also. So it keeps on moving also. So, but it keeps on moving, but maximum amount of carbon that is going in the form of carbon dioxide or methane or maybe carbon monoxide, that is going to the atmosphere. But and the major issue is through the industry, as I talked, that main contributor is the industries. But otherwise, if we talk of this carbon balance on this globe, it is very well balanced. It has been very well balanced. The amount of carbon that is being emitted to the atmosphere and that is being sequestered on the globe, that is almost equal amount. Similarly, from the ocean also, whatever being released in the form of carbon dioxide, and there is also sequestration also. So there is not much difference. Similarly here, but there is some land use changes when we do, then we increase that amount of carbon released into the atmosphere at a larger pace. And further, the most important, the most responsible thing is our industrialization, where we get only emission, there is no sequestration. So when this emission continues for a longer period of time, over years of time, then this contribution is there in the atmosphere itself, and we are then this that results finally into the other issues of rise in temperature or any other health issues. That is the outcome of that. That is the effect of that. Now, question comes: how can we do as an agriculturist? What we can do to sequester the carbon on this globe? So there are different methods we can do. There are chemical approaches, there are physical approaches, there are biological methods through which we can do. As an agriculturist, we simply consider only raising of plants, raising of trees, raising of crops. They are helpful in sequestering the carbon, but there are other approaches also. We can just see how whatever chemicals we are synthesizing on this earth, whatever chemical that is having carbon as a component, that is also carbon sequestration. Whatever chemicals we are making, there is mineral sequestration, reacting carbon dioxide with the abundantly available metal oxides. Our earth is having very rich amount of oxides, and there also the reaction takes place. And there is also, we can see, we have seen wherever the soils are having higher pH, for example, pH maybe 8 or 8.5 or above, we find there sometimes the calcium carbonate nodules are there, and they don't react with the, generally they don't interact with the plants. They don't affect much the plant growth. So they remain there on the surface of the soil and don't hinder much with the crop plants. So that is also one form of carbon sequestration. There are carbonates on this in the earth crust, whatever they are there. 22% of the mineral mass on the earth crust is able to form carbonates. So whatever carbonate, magnesium carbonate, calcium carbonate, potassium carbonate, whatever carbonates. So that is also one form of sequestration. Whatever limes, these mines we are finding, so they are that is also sequestered carbon, which is at least not affecting our environment. So we can even inject the carbon dioxide even maybe 2 kilometer, 3 kilometer deep in the sea. So it will not come back. So that is one form of carbon sequestration. We at least we have removed it from the atmosphere. And this carbon, sometimes whatever carbon dioxide absorbed in the sea water, that form carbonates. So those carbonates also remains as a sequestered form of carbon. That maybe for a short period of time, maybe for a long period of time. But there is option. There is option. But among these options, how much we can do? That is a question. How much these options can do? That is a question. Similarly, when we can fix this carbon in through physical methods also. Physical method means if we can take this carbon dioxide from the carbon from the atmosphere and just we compress it and 100 bars or above pressure. If we do it, it is converted into a liquid. We call it a supercritical liquid, and that liquid we can just put in on those places, those mines which we have, which we are not able to further take any economic output from that. There are holes. So there we can place this compressed form of carbon dioxide into these formations. Similarly, even in the deep sea, we can push this material in the deep sea, and it is having higher density. It will not come back to the atmosphere. So these are the approaches which we can follow, which we have. But only thing is how much economic they are, how much possible they are. There is a question. Secondly, the easiest approach which as an agriculturist we can follow is the biological approaches. And we all know this thing, there is nothing new in this. This is biosequestration, which we call whatever, even the human life, animal life, whatever we are also a form of carbon only. We are our major bodies, they are made up of carbon only. So this is there, we can sequester it in the hydrosphere, we can sequester it into lithosphere. Peat and bog soils, we all know they are very swampy lands where the vegetation, they remain as such. It doesn't degrade, it doesn't decompose further so easily. So those there also we can go for. That is also a way of carbon sequestration, but we cannot use those lands economically. That is another question. Afforestation, that we all know, this is the even the plants that may survive even hundreds of years, and after their, if their that wood is good for timber purpose, it can further maybe hundreds of years that timber even can exist. And we have so many examples. We have seen even in our FRI so many old trees having trunks in meters. I'm sorry, just I'm sorry. Afforestation. So hundreds of more than hundreds of years we can sequester when they are standing on this globe on the soil, and after that we can further make the best use of those furnitures, and we can further increase it to up to hundreds of years. Enhancing carbon removal from the atmosphere through other approaches also, or returning more and more biomass into the soil, that we are already doing. Many of the things we are doing. So in this way also we used to, although this is not a permanent solution, it everything goes back. So another approach is fertilization in ocean. It is done sometime to increase more and more phytoplanktons in the atmosphere. So in the seawater, and but that carbon also is not for longer duration, but we can sequester. There will be more and more growth, more and more carbon dioxide will be absorbed from the atmosphere. So like this, where we are having different approaches, physical, chemical, as well as biological approaches. But after that, then question come, how this we correlate all these approaches with biochar. What is biochar? Then biochar is also some sort of, this is also some sort of physical approach, which we can say it is physical approach. Before I come to the biochar, preparation of biochar, why we should prepare biochar? What is wrong with the system which we are already having? Our system of doing agriculture is we go for preparation of lots of manures and we organic matter, so that we add to that organic matter into the soil. We get so many advantages in the soil. There is increase in carbon dioxide, sorry, in the carbon, and different pools of carbon, they are increased. Our crops, they are grown very successfully, so nutrient release is there. Soil also becomes very good. there is a increase in nutrient status, CEC is improved, everything, every best efforts, best thing, best properties, best soil health we can obtain through the application of FYM. Then what is the why we should go for biochar, preparation of biochar? The question is, whenever you all of you must have experienced this. If I apply FYM to a crop, to a field this year, and if I don't apply for 3 or 4 years, I will find that maximum response we will see in the first year. Next year there will be very less response. After a few years there will be very less, and after 4 or 5 years you will not be able to tell whether I had applied FYM to this plot or not. So that is the scenario. After few years, that effect of application of FYM also vanishes. But and similarly, if we go on measuring the carbon content in these soils when we apply this FYM, so every year after 5 years, you again take a reading. You will see whatever we started with the initial year, the carbon level is almost same after 5 years. So almost same. If we don't continue to add every year. So that means that the application of FYM, with the application of FYM also, there is decay of that carbon. There is attack upon that carbon by microbes naturally, and that again the carbon finds a way, its own path way back to the atmosphere. So now, before I come to the biochar, why biochar, how it has come into picture. So biochar, that term came later, but first there are soils in Amazon rainforest. There are soils which are called terra preta, and this terra preta was discovered by the Dutch soil scientist and Wim Sombre. He is called the father of biochar, basically. So what they did, terra preta, they were, when surveying these soils, what they found that in these deep soils, there were certain soils which were very black in nature, very blackish in nature, but their texture was not according to that which they established, they saw. But adjoining soil beyond that certain region, the soils were normally reddish in appearance and coarse texture, and not just that much fertile as compared to these soils. So then they thought of how these soils are formed and how these soils are different from the adjoining soil. So then it was found, they realized, they discussed, and they found that in these soils there lived certain communities which what they did, they just burnt the trees, they burnt the vegetation, and make the coals like material, and they put that material into the soil for generations, not once or twice, for generations, and they survived in those infertile type of soil. Their soils were basically not productive, but after practicing this way of making this vegetation, burning this vegetation and putting it into the soil, even they burnt the bones of animals. So those things, then they realized that their survival was based on this system of practicing slash and char agriculture, that we call slash and char agriculture. And in these soils, they observed that there was even carbon as high as 9%. So we all know in our soils, right from Kashmir to even northeast, we generally find the higher values around 2 to 3% of carbon in these soils, where there is a lot of vegetation, there is a sufficient rainfall in these areas, and even then the carbon content is not that much high. But in these soils, they noticed the carbon content of even 9%, and the adjoining soil had only 0.5% of carbon. So that was the reason why they thought that what is the reason why these soils is having this much carbon. So this was the history behind, and they realized these differences of the soil, and then they turned this item as this product as a biochar. So this is just to show how these two soil varies with the application of biochar. So this is the practice. Even in India, we also follow this practice in our northeast, Jhum cultivation, which we say. There is also what there we are following slash and burn agriculture. We are generally putting everything into S, and they are practicing agriculture in this piece of land, and they will again move to the next land. They will again slash down the vegetation, burn it into ash, and then do agriculture for some time, and then move to the new places or come back to the previous places. This is the system which we are following, and we call it June cultivation in our country also. But you see, when they have done this thing, they have seen that in those soils which I was talking, the biochar particle in the darker, you can see these soils. So the sand particle, on this sand particle, even the biochar particles are, they have been absorbed on these particles. But this has not happened once, maybe in years, but this has happened in over a very long period of time. And this is the scanning electron microscope picture of those particles which have been taken by them. So this is, now I come to the main topic, that what is biochar basically. So biochar is nothing but biochar is a carbon rich solid material which is a byproduct of low temperature pyrolysis of biomass. So when we burn any vegetation, so there is formation of some coal. We all have experienced it in our rural life. Whenever we go for making, for cooking on a large scale in our villages, we burn lot of wood we usually burn. And in the center of that wood, that burning stove, that burning channel, we find that after cooking, there are some of the soil, some of the plant material that is still not burnt, and we generally recollect that material. We sometimes burn it again. So that material is formed. That material is formed at that point where there is low supply of oxygen, and rest of the material around the whatever is outside material, that generally burn to ash. But in the inner core, we will definitely find, whenever we burn a wood material or wood log, we will find that there is some wood that will not burn completely. Even they keep on cooking for a day, but still inside that material, they generally disturb that fire time and again if they want to finish it off. Otherwise, that will not burn completely. So that is the material which becomes very resistant, and that material is termed as biochar. And this is that is the crude way of doing. And if we form this material around 400 to 500 degrees Celsius temperature, then we can get a relatively large amount of larger recovery of the material. And I will show why this temperature we should follow. So I will come to that. And this is not a new thing. It is just a new name we have followed. This is termed by so many names. This is charcoal, this is biomass dried, black carbon, agri-char, biochar, whatever name we are calling. This is not a new thing. It has been there since generations, since centuries. And it is in use for cooking, health, water purification, etc. This is not new thing, because all our even RO systems, whatever we are putting at our homes, that also is having a candle. That one outer and the outermost part, which is when we make a water supply to the RO system, the first candle that we call, that is also that contains only biochar to absorb all the impurities, physical impurities as well as the dissolved impurities. So those are absorbed in these biochar. So it has been there. It is being used. So the biochar, it is formed when we are burning any material at a very less oxygen supply, or even no oxygen supply, under no oxygen supply. But we know for burning, we say that for burning oxygen is important. Otherwise, whenever we say if something is burning, just put a cloth on it, so everything will stop. But the item, but the vegetation that can be burnt even without the presence of oxygen. I will show this later. So when we burn any material, there are three things that happens. There is release of gases, carbon dioxide, even methane. When we are burning it in the absence of carbon dioxide, this oxygen, then there is formation of some amount of methane, even carbon monoxide, hydrogen gas, etc. These all are released at once. Then volatile compound, some of the volatile compound that also oozes out from this material. And then the final material which is left is the biochar. So this is probably in our human history, this is the first synthetic material which has been produced by the man. And this process is called carbonization. Sometimes we call it pyrolysis. This is nothing but burning in oxygen stress condition. That is called carbonization or pyrolysis, we say it. And it has been there. People have been using on. We say that Pandavas have drawn so many pictures at some places, and still used it since generations. Used to transport fire to new locations. I will share this slide in the end. Easier to do than any other coal material. This is very easy thing which we can do. Very easily we can make biochar. So how we can make biochar? This is the next thing. What is biochar? I have just to talk, and how we can make biochar. So biochar making is not very sophisticated material, but only thing is when we want to make biochar for very academic purpose, we need some best thing, very nice machinery should be there, so that we can say with confidence that this is the biochar formed at this and this temperature. So that is the way. Otherwise, biochar can be formed through so many crude methods. Just see, people have done like this. They have put heap of the biomass inside these tanks, put it on fire. From the outside, they have let some pipes so that some amount of oxygen can reach there. So because and it can smoke in there is no open fire. So in the end, we can collect the biochar formed inside these tanks. Another method, we can just heap the biomass, we can make a mud paste around it, put some holes on fire. It will keep on smoking. May let it be there for a whole night, maybe for 1 day, maybe for 2 days, depending upon the size of the pile. So we can get biochar. So, but there are industrial methods also. People can make biochar on particular temperature, and in not in our country, we are not having much machinery so far developed for this material, this item. But in other areas, people are making it, and people are even generating electricity by burning the biomass, and the whatever amount is left, that is some amount of biochar, there also we are getting. But at the small scale, when we talk about farmers, there is a low amount of even biomass available with them. So whatever is available, them they can use their own traditional ITKs and make biochar at their own fields, just apply in their field, so they can get benefit of this material. So this is how we have done. There are different institutes, they have tried to make biochar, try to design the material, these drums, so that people can make biochar on small scale at their own field. So these are made for small material for a low amount of biochar, but they can design it for bigger size. They can design further, and they can get different amount of biochar. So when we talk about the particular temperature and particular conditions of making biochar, this is this biochar reactor they have made at CIA Bhopal. Here they can put some amount of about 50 kg of biomass we can put, just, and they have put heaters. There's no fire inside it. They have put heaters. They will just switch on it, and just see, there will be, it will smoke inside, and some amount of this gases will be released, and even that some amount of tar can be collected there from this biomass. So this is also at CIA. They have tried to make they are putting open fire to make biochar. So we will just ignite, we will just give external heat to the biomass. So there is a drum inside, and this is from the outside. They will put some wood to ignite it, to raise the temperature of inside of the material, and it will smoke, and after that we can collect. Even we can, for our academic purpose, even I have tried to make biochar in a muffle furnace. So just for small amount of biochar, we have generated even in muffle furnace. These are some of the, this is one of the biochar reactor which has been placed in Odisha. So in one of the craft project, I was also associated. So they are just like this. It can accommodate about 300 to 400 quintal of material, 300 to 400 kg of material. So it can, they will just ignite it from externally. The temperature inside will increase, and automatically there will be formation of biochar, and there is a temperature controller also. So some amount of some technology has been put in. Now question is, how should we make biochar? So there are different processes. There are different way we can get biochar by slow paralysis, even fast paralysis, even gasification. But whenever we are going for fast paralysis, at once when we increase the temperature, there is a very less recovery, only 10 to 12% of recovery. But when we are going for slow paralysis, we are getting 35% of recovery, maybe even we can increase it at the most up to 50%, but very difficult to increase further. So since we want more amount of biochar, so that this material does not return back to the atmosphere so easily. So that's why this temperature has to be at a very slow. That's we need to go for slow paralysis. Now, different boards, different biomasses, they are having different components. We all understand. The plants have hemicellulose, there is lignin. There are certain plants which are very rich in waxes. So, but these all these compounds have different temperature for carbonization, for pyrolysis. They need different temperature. So, for example, hemicellulose that will gasify just at 250 to 300 degrees Celsius. But cellulose that will require 300 to 450 degrees Celsius temperature. Lignin that may split in between 300 to 750 degrees Celsius. So the amount, the quality, the amount of material left after burning, that all depends at what temperature we are making biochar, what material we are using. So this is the just graphical picture how these at these different temperature. So we cannot make from most of the things we cannot make biochar below 200 or around 250. So here there will be less. So when we get this is the range of temperature for different these components where we get good amount of biochar and good quality of biochar, where the carbonization basically starts. That starts above 250 to 300. But we always recommend another temperature range. The product which we obtain after the weight percentage of dry sample which we get after making biochar, that also depends upon the type of material. This is just a diagram to show, just a figure reflects that how this material, the weight of that material after carbonization varies with the type of feedstock which we use for making biochar. Now, question is this is just a typical example showing how the biochar is formed. Just see when even we strike a match, we can see there is formation of some amount of biochar, because after when this fire goes off, then we can see this pointed end is still sharp there. So there is, although there is the highest temperature inside, in the inner core, there is less temperature outside. So here burning is more because oxygen supply is more. But in the inner core, there is less oxygen supply, and there takes place the formation of biochar. So this is the area where we get biochar. This is just an example. Now the question come everywhere on every platform. You will face this question: why we should make biochar? Why should we burn our vegetation? We should not burn vegetation. We should make FYM, and we should apply it into the soil for better fertility, for better crop growth. So sometimes we also become we cannot answer their question like this. But the question is, if we are able to make FYM, very good, we are able to make it, then why so much burning is happening in our country? Why so much pollution is happening in our country? Our country is producing now lots of these crop residues. We are taking the economic part, and the rest of the part, why farmer is forced to put it on fire? Because he is unable to handle all these residues. So far he has been able to handle residue. Production was also less, but now the production is increasing. Every year, every target we are matching, we are reaching to every target whatever government is pushing through our best technologies. But still we see we have residues. Those are being burnt because we don't have any other use. So that's why we see rice straw, bagasse from the sugarcane. Wherever in the sugarcane area, we see what many in industrial units, they are generating their own electricity from the bagasse, and that they are meeting the requirement of their industries by burning that material in their field. So, but if that is, they do not burn, what will they do with that? They don't have any other use. They don't have any other disposal that requires space. So that's why they are putting it on fire. Wood chips, sawdust, bark, We are consuming a little in our rural areas, but still lot of that is burnt. Animal waste, sewage, sludge, even tires people use. They try to burn. Naturally, they will burn it, although it is also a carbon compound. Grasses, corn stover, nut cells, so much groundnut we are growing. Walnut, chestnut, almond, coconut. These mostly walnut, chestnut also grown in our this northeastern, northern part of the country. So many things are there. We don't recommend that we are not going far off for bringing all these material and then burning, but we are suggesting whatever is surplus with you, which you are not able to handle, at least that much we can convert into such a material. I will show why we should convert it into biochar. So just see the scenario before that. How much is the different residues we are having from different crops. This is just this is the summarized table you can see. We are producing about 686 million tons of crop residues in the country. And after meeting all our competing demands, still we are having about 234 million tons as surplus residues. What we will do with that? We don't have many uses. Now, some industries are now coming. They are generating CNG also. That is also a very good option. That is also appreciable solution to our problem. But here, as a agriculturist, what we will do with this surplus material? What our common man, our farm holdings, they are very, very small. Farmers, they are having very less land holding, so they cannot go for much sophisticated technology. They cannot take our residues, their residues to a very far place and go for some other solution. So we want to give them in situ solution, which we can follow in their own area. Just see cereal biomass burning is happening in this area. So how much area is this? Is the red one is highly affected, other one is less affected. We can see here fiber biomass burning in this region. So much is there. Sugarcane bagasse burning is there in these regions, and here also we can say our oil seed biomass burning. So whatever waste we are getting from maybe from cotton, maybe from mustard, so those are also there. So here having just the cereal crops, they contribute to 70%, while rice crop alone contributes to 30%, 34% of the crop residues. So how to handle them? There is one option we can go for. And this biochar production, it is not that other countries are not doing. It is there. Just see global black carbon production is estimated to be 50 to 270 teragram per year. So this even 9.5 billion tons, that means 9.5 petagram of carbon could be potentially stored in soils by 2100 in wide variety of soils. This has been forecasted based upon the current trends in biochar uses. In India also we are producing certain amount of biochar. There are many private firms you will see they are producing, but how much accuracy they are doing, how much efficiently they are making, that is still a question, because we don't have that much good technologies, good techniques to making biochar. But there are hotspots for potential biochar application in our country. As I told, 234 million tons of surplus residues are there. 70 to 100 million tons of biochar we can generate from our residues. 40 to 70 million tons of carbon could be sequestered in the soils. And this why we should even this much carbon, what difference it will make, I will come later on. 0.5 to 2 million tons of potassium. This is single element I'm just talking, but there are other salts also that are available, that are stored in this commodity, in this material. So why should we make this biochar? This biochar material is very, very resistant to decomposition. This is the only key factor of using this biochar. This is so resistant that its decomposition is very, very slow, and through many studies it has been found that just see through one study, carbon 14 level black carbon under external energy source under mechanical disturbance of aggregates for a period of 3.2 years did not change the carbon dioxide flux. The mean resident time of black carbon is in millions of years. It can stay back into the soil. Many a time you might have seen that if you go for digging maybe for 1 meter or 2 meter deep soil, sometimes we find the black carbon, the carbon pieces in the soil profiles itself. So sometime somebody might have burnt that, somebody might have left that in the soil system, and it is lying as such even after 100 years. You today you bury it, you may also again find somebody, our generation may also see it after hundreds of years. So it has very low degradation, low decomposition in the soil. And this is one of the information from the prairie soil, where even there is a tradition of burning the grasses for thousands of years, 10,000 years of prairie fires. From that soil site, people have taken soil sample and they have analyzed, and they have seen it through the scanning electron microscope. And through these two pictures, we can see in two different types of soils, they have done it. And they say in the clay, that the soil, when we separate out the soil aggregates, in the last sieve, when we see less than that is the 53 micron sieve. So below, the soil passed through that sieve. In that soil, they have analyzed the sieve, and they have seen that still, they, after so many years, so many generations of prairie fire, we can see the particles of the biochar. Still, they are not decomposed. Still, they are able to maintain their safe passage. That means the amount of carbon which we have put in the form of biochar, that will remain in the soil for years together, and it shows us the path how we can sequester carbon for so much long period of time. This is another. This is the schematic diagram why we should go for biochar application, and what is the difference when we apply it through in the form of decomposed or manured, in the manured material without burning. So this is the thing. Whenever we are making biochar, we are making FYM. So if we are making burning, we are taking 100 kg of material. When we are applying it through we are applying it through in the form of FYM. We see when first year there will be certain amount of carbon, and with the time, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year, as I mentioned in the beginning, so that amount of carbon in the soil will go on decreasing. But with the same amount of material which we are burning, and we are assuming that we have burnt 50% of that, and we are just applying 50% of that material, and that material once applied, so just see that we have applied now 50% of the carbon which we took 100 kg we took, but we for 50 we burnt, and rest 50 we applied, and that will remain as such. Half-life of biochar through some studies has been shown to be 1400 years, means more than 1000 years. But some studies have shown it more than this also. So what I say, let it not be 1400 years. I say even if it is there for 400 years, it is also a great contribution to the atmosphere. So whatever carbon we are taking and we are putting it back into the soil, and we are not just putting back into the soil, the other benefits I'm coming. So though that will contribute to our agriculture also. This is one study we conducted at Bhopal. So here this is our usual practice of adding FYM into the soil. And when I have taken the soil, incubated it with FYM, as well as I incubated it with biochar, and then I incubated it with both. And by increasing the amount of biochar, just see what happened in 3 soils. This is the highest amount of carbon dioxide that was emitted when I applied only FYM. But when I applied only biochar, only this much amount of carbon dioxide I could measure. But when what I did, I increased the amount of this biochar by 1-fold, 1:1, 2:1, 3:1 with FYM. Then see, there has not been much improvement as compared to this FYM alone. So that means the application of biochar in the soil, that will last very long period into the soil system when we will add into the soil. So that is the thing, how we can sequester, why we should sequester carbon in the form of biochar and apply it to this. When we come to its properties, just see, this is the generalized properties. The range may vary, but the soil, the pH of the biochar, that is basically, this is a material that is having alkaline nature. So alkaline nature, it is having 8.2 to 13 pH even we can register with different types of biochar. Carbon content, it can range even up to 82%. 33 to 80. 33 is raw, We can say around 40% carbon in biomass material we generally experience for our crop plants, but that can increase even up to 82%. So when a material which is very rich in carbon, so it is just like coal. Coal is also very rich in carbon dioxide, sorry, carbon content. So that material when we are putting into the soil, it will remain as such and it will not degrade. So that will give us the advantage of this carbon sequestration. So CN ratio that also may vary up to 221. So there is time and again I am receiving a very important call. Can I mute myself for a minute?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure, sir. Sure.
Please excuse me.
No problem, sir.
Participants, if you have any questions, please ask the sir. You are unmuted now.
Madam, wait. Lecture is still going on.
So, hello. So, do you need any help?
Hello, Hamida madam.
Sir, Bishra sir, do you need any help?
No. Sir is on a phone call. He got some important phone call.
Okay.
Hamida madam.
Yes, sir.
सर को फोन आया, वो फोन पे हैं, वो he will
So,
join.
okay.
Sorry, I'm back.
No problem, sir. No
I'm
problem.
back, sir.
Please continue, sir.
It's visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sorry, I will be faster now again. So this is the condition. Why we should go for biochar preparation at 400 to 500 degrees Celsius. We can make it even up to 800, even more than that. But question is the recovery that declines, that goes on decline. But why we should come to this? Just see the soil, the pH of the biochar that is increasing very high. So if we make a biochar at 800, its pH will be still higher. As I told, it may vary even up to 13. So that type of material that may pose certain problems. And one important thing is the surface area, which is the maximum at this range. When we make it at 400 to 500 degrees Celsius, the maximum surface area that will help us in nutrient retention, cation exchange capacity, sorry, improvement. So that's why we should restrict ourselves. And secondly is the recovery. So recovery is also around 35 to 50%, maybe, but 50% is higher side. We generally get around 30 to 40% of recovery of the biomass material. So that's why we should restrict ourselves around this temperature. This is some of the my own work. We have made biochar from mustard. We have made from lantana. How the recovery has been changed, we can see about from when at 250 degrees Celsius, at 400 degrees Celsius. So around 400 degrees Celsius, we are going to get around 30 to 40%, not more than 5. So 30% we are getting. So this is for other cases also. Carbon content that will keep on increasing. Even I have recorded even up to 70% of carbon in that material which we made by making biochar using this muffle furnace. So the pH of the material that also goes on increasing, but at this temperature it is around 8 to 9. So we can say this is that's why we say that this is the best temperature range which we can make biochar. And with different nutrients, that there is always built up of the nutrients in this material. But though after having lost the 50% of material or 70% of the material, the remaining material is having good amount of phosphorus, a good amount of potassium, good amount of calcium, magnesium. So those things are there. So this is the material, how porous it becomes. So many, that's why it helps in nutrient retention. And sometimes we say that when we apply FYM, there is if it is not fully decomposed, immobilization of the nutrients may take place, that we generally consider. But when we apply biochar, this is a question of immobilization doesn't arise, because when we add raw material, undecomposed material into the soil system, so there is an increase in the population of the microbes so fast that they want more energy. And for that they need nitrogen. So they take nitrogen from the soil itself. So it is immobilized. But here that doesn't happen, because this is not such a palatable material to even to microbes. They are unable to attack upon this material. So this is what type of benefits we can get. We can get improvement in chemical properties. We can take this material as a very good soil amendment that is having slow nutrient release, that is having microbial abundance, efficient nutrient transfer may take place, better soil health is there, and very good physical properties. This is a summarized form. I will not take much time in other slides. This is summarized form of the benefits of the biochar. High surface area, high porosity, high surface charge is there, high water holding capacity is there. So, and environmental remediation. So as a material, the most paper you will find that people have used it a waste material for removal of the contaminants from the soil. Maybe cadmium, lead, whatever polluted soil. In those soils, application of biochar is very good, because it holds up all those material which are going to pass to our food chain. So those things. And climate change mitigation, of course, it is there. And among chemical, when this is having higher pH, it's a very good material for acid soil application. I will come, we have some slides for that. So this is as a role for biochar functional groups. We can say so many roles. When these is acid functional groups, acidic functional groups. So those they help in liming. They give us some liming effect. There is electrostatic attraction or chelation of the nutrients. Some nutrients are absorbed, and some are even immobilized through using. Even the humic acid that can be sequestered. That after combination with this biochar, this humic acid, the further decomposition of humic acid, that is also prevented. And these anion hydrogen bonding divalent cation bridging. This can help in inorganic anion adsorption, supply of nutrients, reduce contaminant toxicity. All these things I have just mentioned in these slides. So the physical properties I will not talk again, but this is the best thing is it very good. It is very good for phosphate retention. The phosphorus availability is a question in most soil, whether it is acidic soil or it is alkaline soil. But when we just see, when we apply this biochar on the biochar with soil, and when we apply biochar with manure, just see how the phosphate ion adsorption takes place. So it is higher with the biochar application than the FYM. This is a meta-analysis of about 124 published paper on biochar. So those studies have clearly shown that with the application of biochar, there is increase in the phosphorus availability in most soils. And for nitrogen, there is a some question. Some question means biochar addition to soil reduced the nitrate nitrogen concentration by 12% and ammonical nitrogen by 11%. There are certain sufficient references. Many a time the availability is decreased, but this availability can be increased when it is applied with the organic fertilizer. So there is significant increase in ammonical nitrogen when we apply it with the organic fertilizer. So that care we can take, so we can take advantage even for crop production point of view. CAC I have talked. This is why it is a wonderful material. Just application of 4% of biochar, 6%. This is very high amount of biochar, but even 2% application. So the activity of aluminum, which is the main problem in the acidic soil, that activity was very reduced drastically. We can see the aluminum activity that was decreased, and with 4% and 6% means if we apply very high amount, so the acidic soils, there will not be any problem of the acidity, and crops can be, the other nutrients will be released very nicely when we apply this material as a liming material. So physical property I have just discussed. So it decreases the entry of water into aggregate pores, leading to increase in aggregate stability. So many good things about its physical property, biological properties. So this is again summarized from how the biochar interact with the microbes. Generally, there may be certain change in microbial communities also upon application of biochar, because this is not the material which is easily acted upon. So many a times the microbes use this material as a habitat for their survival, because during when the conditions are not congenial outside in the outside soil system, then since this material is having more moisture, it contains more moisture than the adjoining soil. So the microbes try to come inside, and they will stay there until the conditions are optimum outside the soil particles or outside the biochar particles. So they will again come out when there are good conditions outside, because for feeding they have another environment, that is the soil. So they will react and they will manage. So some of the things I will discuss. Just see another one. My time is approaching fast, I know. I will try to conclude fast. This is when pine biochar was inoculated with the co-culture of different microbes. We can see in these biochar particle how different microbes are doing. So here this is field-aged biochar buried in agricultural soil. So this was biochar just put into the soil. But after that it was taken and studied. We can see different microbes, they start growing inside. They start inhabiting inside, multiplying inside. So these are the beneficial microbes. And we say that soil is a living system. Until and unless there are no microbes, means soil is not a living system. So even the mycorrhizal growth that has been reported to be improved upon with the application of biochar. So some of the things I will skip. And this is the main thing, the effect on the crop productivity. So this is many a time there are different reports, and in many reports there have been many people have reported that there is improvement in crop yields, but some people have reported there is increase only in biomass. Some have reported okay, economic part also there is increase, but that increase depend upon which type of soil we are applying this and in which crop we are using. This is the amount of increase, yield increase. Just see people have reported they not only increase, in some studies there has been decrease also. There has been no effect also. So people, but keeping all this increase and decrease in yield apart, our main focus when we keep on carbon sequestration, we keep on climate change. That means we can very well apply this. This we have seen in vertisol type of soil in Bhopal. So there is although there is improvement, but significant improvement may not be there even. But there is some important when we decrease some amount of nitrogen. Then we tried whether it is able to meet out our nitrogen requirement or not. But the answer was no. So we need to apply this, and without fertilizer we cannot think of taking crops. We cannot. This is not a material like FYM. We have to apply fertilizer. This is another study. Without fertilizer, this is the application of 5, 10, 20 ton of biochar in vertisols. I'm talking only about black soils. So there, when we applied it with fertilizer, we can see there is significant improvement in the crop yield also. But without fertilizer, we cannot think of using biochar in these soils. But responses in other soil may be different. So there are limitations also. Biochar is not a source of nutrient, much source. The nutrients contained in it may be higher, but their release is very slow. That may be slow, but it is for long period of time. There are certain constraints like making biochar, as I told, collection is a issue. But when farmer is having at his own doorstep, he should make at his own. This is another example. When there is a need, there is a way. Just see the Uganda has lost forest cover in last 10 years. Just see 97% of population, they rely on this business now. So what they are doing, they are taking the biomass, burning it under oxygen stress condition, but selling it for fuel purpose. They are burning at their home. So this is not the practice which we should follow. Yeah, I am recommending that. I just want to convey, when there is a need, people use it. People can make it. It's not that people cannot make biochar. We have a rural population. Our India lives in villages. We still cook on our traditional stoves, local stoves. We use woods. So just modifying our these stove, so we can generate some amount of biochar daily. Once it is being done daily, a good amount of biochar can be generated from each household, and that will be there in our soils for generations, for maybe hundreds of years, thousands of years. So this is one practice we have demonstrated this these stoves in Odisha, and this is the way forward. Biochar production units we should try to establish in villages. Production in technological incubation centers, we should make scalable model, we should give to the farmers. The countrywide network we should create through different institutions, and capacity building of extension officers, so that people should realize that it has a potential and we can make it very well. India has also done, we have also done some of the studies in different soils, but research, most of the research has been done outside, and most of the research is confined to pots and field study, lab study, not field study. Most of the research is still in lab studies. But after application in the field, we should realize, we should see how much we can use. But there is a scope when we talk about the biochar making for carbon sequestration. It's not that we are not burning. There are so many biomass burning plants for electrification, electricity generation. With 7,000 megawatt electricity we are generating through 550 sugar mills. So when we can burn there, we can burn for our soil also. We can burn. This is the subsidy government is already giving. 1.5 crore per project. Government is giving rupees 25 lakh. Just see, for biomass power projects. Capital subsidy 20 lakh for each project. If government is giving, why not incentive to farmers? If they are also given some incentive, they will definitely come to take up this commodity, and we will be benefiting our environment. These are some of the conclusions which I have already spoken. And thank you so much. I have taken some more time. So thank you so much. If you have any question, we can discuss for a minute or two, whatever. And thank you so much.